So I'm going to first go into some web browser of choice, and I'm going to do download R. And just the first thing that we want, we're just going to go into R for Windows. If you have a Mac, it'll automatically kind of know that. Unsure a little bit how it does, but you know, some things I'm just not worried about. And so what we want to do now that we have this download is we want to click download R 4.5 for Windows. If you have a Mac, this page will look a tiny bit different, but it is essentially the same. Now that this eventually we'll say it's done, okay. We're going to then open up the what is called the executable file that will run the installation. Whenever, if you get a pop-up window that says, like, do you want to allow this app to change things on your device, you want to say yes. I will do English. This is all a bunch of just legal stuff related to the fact that the core team who does it, Retain basically says, we give this to you for free, and things might not work because, you know, it was free, and sometimes you get what you pay for. But overall, the fact that it has like no warranty, all those types of things, nothing too crazy. Just a very general open source public use license. We want to say next. Just use whatever the default is. I recommend if there's somewhere you want to put it, otherwise feel free to, but again, I recommend just using the default. Again, recommend just using the default. Again, say no here because we want to use the defaults. Yeah, we can create start folder, desktop, associated R files, yep. And we just wait for it to install. Installing base R is relatively fast, thankfully. Takes just a minute. It's doing all of its background stuff of extracting all the packages and all the files that it has underneath the hood to help us run the analyses. The first part of, and probably one of the most tedious parts of running the Wave 2 analyses, is just getting everything installed properly and getting things up and running, because there are a lot of packages and dependencies that we have. Yep, there we go. Finished. Excellent. So now if we go into like our start window, you'll see that if you go to all of your apps, we can scroll down and we'll see R. And if we open it up and install it, or open it up to see what we have, you'll see that we get this window. Oh, I accidentally opened up two. No, we don't. I don't need that. I just want to show you all what it looks like. This is base R. It is a bit ugly. Again, it's free, so there's no warranty. And yeah, this is R. It's this R console is honestly just a very high-powered, fancy calculator. There's a lot more underneath the hood, but essentially it's a calculator. We can do like 2 plus 2, and then we press enter, and we get our 4. And so it's underneath it all, very simple. One of the things that makes R extremely powerful and flexible is that it is very general purpose. There's a lot of things that make R kind of tedious, but there's a lot of good things about it too. And the fact that it's very open about its limitations and what's good and not good for it. One of the things that we are going to use it for is to help with not only running the analyses, but coordinating, getting all the results put into a format that is relatively easy to understand. So that's R. It's at its core not too fancy. So we're just going to exit that for now, since we don't need to use it. We don't need to save the workspace. So now what we're going to do, we don't need this window. So now, instead of just R, we need R RStudio. So again, the company for RStudio used to be called R RStudio. Now they've kind of rebranded as this Posit for some reason. You know, there are things I don't understand, and I'm just, you can accept the cookies if you want. I mean, they're not the dark side, so I don't really want their cookies. And what we need to do is download RStudio. We don't need the server, we just need RStudio regular. What it'll do is it'll take us to a install page for the RStudio desktop. We have already installed R. Now we need RStudio for Windows. Again, it will automatically identify the type of under the hood thing it needs to use for the install. A note about versions of R in RStudio is we need to, because we're doing this, have so many dependencies, we need to have at least version R 4.4. So if you previously have R installed, you might need to open or reinstall R to get the updated version. We've tried to see what the lowest version of a lot of these things will work, but you know, it takes a long time to check all those. So we're just doing the blanket use 4.4 or higher. Open up the install. Yes. Same things, just say yes. The next, just use whatever its default location is. And this is going to take a little bit longer, depending on how fast your computer is. Okay, still installing. It's being just slow. Yep, all these doing lots of things under the hood. Okay, we just want to click finish. So now we have R in RStudio installed. So that's the first major pieces of what we needed. So now if we go to our folder that has the R files and the R project, you'll notice that potentially the kind of symbols associated with those files have updated a little bit. What we want is this GFS Wave 2 RStudio project file. I'm just going to open that up. Gotta wait for a minute. Hopefully it won't take too long. Choose your R. Yep, we're just going to use this default. Press OK. Yeah, you can send it there, send them crash reports. So this is RStudio. What it has is it has a default R console here, which you'll notice is the same window that we actually had in base R. This is actually base R in this part of RStudio. Over here on the upper right part is kind of a window that helps us understand what is in R's memory to help us kind of see what we need. One thing that's really helpful is this little broom button, because when we click it, what it'll do is it will remove everything, including all the hidden files. There's nothing in there, so it doesn't need to remove anything. And the other big part is in the session is this section, or the next big piece is this window down here, where it has all the files listed. It's just like a folder or finder, but it's within RStudio itself to help us understand